Yeah, let's definitely chop this one up because this story's a little bit on the insane side. Churchgoers tackle a Navy veteran mother, 31, to the ground after she walked into an Easter service holding her 10-month-old son and a gun and started ranting about the rapture. Wow. Ladies, ladies. This was written by George Martin for Mail Online, and we're reading it off of Daily Mail. Hold on, let's get that out of there. Okay. So, a woman identified as Ann Conkley, 31, reportedly stormed into the church. Parishioners at I'm not going to try that, church in San Diego then tackled her to the ground. She was reportedly carrying a handgun and her 10-month-old son in her arms. Conkley has ranted on YouTube and Facebook that Jesus is a liar. It's always the hot ones that turn out to be crazy, isn't it? All right, let's get into the story. Churchgoers tackled a Navy veteran to the ground after she walked into an Easter service Sunday holding a gun and her baby son. She stormed into the church in the Claremont area of San Diego on Sunday while waving the handgun around, police say. 31-year-old then walked onto the stage and started talking about the rapture while grasping the 10-month-year-old boy. 10-month-year-old, wow, fun. Terrified onlookers bravely stepped in and tackled Conky to the ground before officers arrived on the scene to arrest her. Conky, who also worked as a journalist for NBC7 San Diego, has ranted on YouTube videos and Facebook posts that Jesus is a liar and the Bible is a trap. Man, she's not ugly by any stretch of the imagination. That is a very, very good looking woman. Police cars flooding the streets outside. These they clearly got these from her Facebook page. Let's go back and because it definitely has one of those like that smiles like perfection, man. That smiles perfection. Let's get to some more of this article. The female walked up on stage and made threats. She was going to blow up the church while waving the handgun, San Diego police said in a news release. If you're not familiar with me, I spent some time in San Diego. I spent a few years living in San Diego. I really love that area. It's like so many great people live there, but there's a lot of nuts out there as well. There's nuts everywhere. Don't get it twisted. But, like everybody's nuts. Everybody's crazy people are a bit distinct in their own way. Fortunately, no one was injured in the incident, and photos showed officers taking the child Conky was carrying to safety. After examining the handgun, police found it wasn't loaded, and bomb specialists could not find any trace of explosives after a sweep of the complex. She was saying craziness about the rapture not being real and everyone's going to hell. One witness recalled, okay, gotta stop it right there. What do you mean? Like, how can you say on one breath the rapture is not real, then in the other breath that everyone's going to hell? I mean, I guess they're two different things, but I don't know. Either ways, Conky is a former journalism and creative writing major at San Diego State University. See, she was just being creative. She was just using that degree. Okay, so if you watch the Tulsi Gabbard video, you know that if I find a woman attractive, she gets like 35% positive on my on my little scale. There's 35% more attention and and empathy that I give females that I find physically attractive. It's my bias, but I am very blatant about my bias. In recent years, she also reportedly served as a digital media producer at NBC7 San Diego and in the United States Navy. Conky posted hour-long videos to a YouTube channel in which she claimed there was great deception happening in churches and synagogues. You know what? I don't think she's wrong on that. I really don't. As someone who grew up in a church, I gotta say, there's a lot of BS. A lot of BS. So she's not fully wrong on that. I just think she needs some mental help. I really do. Let me see. For the idols speak delusions, the diviners envision lies and tell false dreams. They comfort in vain. Therefore, the people wend their way like sheep. They are in trouble because there is no shepherd. Just hours before storming the church, she posted a passage from the book of Zechariah 10, chapter 10, verse 2. Oh, my goodness. Just hours before storming the church. Therefore, people... See, that's one of the reasons I really don't like Daily Mail, because a lot of this article is just rehashing stuff that they already wrote. On April 7th, she wrote, "The one who came as Jesus was a liar. Another word for the comforter is the advocate. Why would he say that unless he's the advisory? Which means that since we've been worshiping him as God and believing everything he said, we've all been deceived." Get a copy editor. But that's the thing. Wow. I see a little bit of an issue with Miss Conkey's interpretation here, because Jesus isn't God. Jesus is the Son of God. Jesus, at least from my interpretation, what I've been able to gather over, all these years in church, that Jesus is just an avatar for God. Like, we don't worship Jesus. We praise Jesus, but we worship God. They are two different entities. Even though, the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, the Holy Trinity, and they are like Jesus in many ways, I believe, was God's vessel to see how life took place here on earth. So, when he basically was like, yeah, I want you to report back to me what's going on down there. Why can't people particularly understand what I want for him, what I'm trying to do for him? And Jesus came down to earth, experienced life as a man, went back up there and was like, man, Dad, it's kind of crazy. So that's where the whole redemption and sin thing comes in, at least for me. But yeah, I just believe, when she says that we've been worshiping Jesus as God, that just doesn't particularly jive well. Here's another Facebook post from her. Vid from yesterday. "Here's your proof. The Holy Bible is a trap. Listen to the wall of the shepherds. Their rich pastures are destroyed." Zech 11th chapter, 3rd verse. "Why? Because if you're so guided by God, then you don't need a pastor. This is the first seal. Do you really think God could have an enemy? No, but he does test the hearts of man. And apparently, we've all failed until now. When Jesus came the first time, he fulfilled so many prophecies. But out of context, if you really think about it, or don't think about it, and just keep blindly believing in a God you don't really know, I'm just saying, the God of the covenant never asked his people to follow him on faith alone. Gives new meaning to the phrase blind leading blind, doesn't it? Every plant that my heavenly Father has not planted will be pulled up by the roots. Leave them. They are blind guides. They are blind guides of the blind. If a blind man leads a blind man, both will fall into a pit. Matthew 15th chapter, 14th verse. Yeah, yikes. She was really into her faith, and this is going to sound a little bad, but women weren't allowed to proselytize for a very long time. And I think this lady here may be a part of the reason why. So now, it's not that I don't believe that she has some form of mental illness. I genuinely believe for you to jump up in front of a church and in front of a bunch of parishioners who did absolutely nothing to you and make threats in such a manner, I believe is just like more stress than anything else. But it's good to see a beautiful woman of faith. But this is clearly after the children. My goodness. On Sunday, the pastor said that Conkey seemed confused, and he described her as being not in her right mind. Go figure. He said that instead of speaking, Conkey was just uttering random words, and nobody could understand what she wanted. David Michael Miller, a serviceman who was attending services and helped subdue the woman, described the bizarre incident to ABC 7. After she started pointing the gun at the baby, one of the older gentlemen grabbed it from her, and then me and a couple of other men tackled her. We got the baby away from her. A few minutes after that, the cops came in. She was trying to run away or something, so a cop tackled her through a row of chairs. They arrested her and pulled another gun out of her bra. Conky's baby and her 5-year-old daughter, who was found nearby, were taken into protective custody. Where is the father? We're the father of these kids. Okay, so this is starting. I think that's the end of the article, but it's actually starting to make a smidgen more sense now, because the father is apparently, like, she was apparently a single mother, and I've never been a single mother, so I couldn't tell you, but I can imagine that it takes quite the mental toll, and she was just, whew, she reached her edge. She reached her edge, and it's sad, and it's not just sad because I find her attractive. Okay, I'm gonna end up on this because I do think she's attractive. I do think she's very hot, and she's crazy. So the loving time is just fantastic. I can't speak to her situation, and I do find it sad more for the child than for her, because that's a traumatic thing that I don't think a 10-month-old is particularly gonna lock into their psyche. But hey, you never know. Things affect people differently. Hopefully they can find family or the father, because that still bugs me out that they haven't felt like that. That there's no mention of the father or her or husband or anything else like that. It sounds like it was just her and her kids, and honestly, if she is that fine, then if she's that fine, I personally couldn't see myself leaving, her with the kids. But that's the thing about fine. Fine only gets you so far. As soon as you find out that you're a little nuts, and the saddest part is when it happens after you've had a kid. I mean, it's hard for anybody to stick around, and that's really genderless, like a male, female, female, male. If you find yourself in a relationship with someone who is clearly not mentally all there, the attraction really that attraction wears thin really quickly. So, this is a sad set of circumstances. I really wouldn't wish this upon anybody, and most importantly, I really hope and pray for her 2 kids, and that they find the stability that they need to be able to move beyond this. So, later.